One of the council members asked me to do agenda item number 6 tonight before I went to resident comments. So Belle Plaine Community Development, if you guys want to introduce your new director, we're here to listen.
Okay. Having us, obviously, the city of Belle Plaine has been a big part of Belle Plaine community development, and will, I'm sure, continue. And we're excited. It's been a while since we've had a director, and so Corey Try 2 days ago, and no, she's excited. We liked her excitement when we interviewed her. Her background, she has a college degree, and she worked for a company where she was supervising some people. So she had to interact with people. So she knows that she'll be interacting with the public and the businesses. So yeah, we're excited to work with her as a board, and Corey Try.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Corey. My family and I moved here about 9 years ago, so I've been kind of hiding out in the country. Everybody knows me as Steven's mom, but Steven just graduated, so I don't know about that. But anyway, I'm really excited for this job. I have like really cool dreams. If just a tiny little bit comes true, it would be awesome for everybody. I really look forward to working with you guys and learning a lot. Especially from our city clerk. Okay, so anyway, I really look forward to working with y'all, and thanks for having me.
Awesome.
And feel free to come to City Hall and use our clerks. They can help you in a variety of things, and don't be afraid to come to Steve and I's office and ask for help on anything. The city government's here to help Belle Plaine development be more successful, or as successful as it possibly can. So, your predecessors, the last 2 predecessors have come up quite often. In fact, sometimes have come up and ate their lunch in our clerk's office while our clerks were eating lunch, and had conversations about stuff. So feel free to come in and pick the brains of people here, but realizing Sandy knows. Steve thinks he knows. Welcome to your new job.
Thank you so much. And I'm open for lunch dates. Just put it out there.
Any questions, council?
Just
None.
good to see the position filled.
Yep.
With somebody enthusiastic too.
I'm stuck here, so I'm gonna make it so my kids want to come back here.
That's good. That's a good plan.
You know, so yeah, I've already lost them to college. I'm still having the withdrawals. It's still new.
This will help get your mind off of it.
Yes, it will, big time.
I don't know, when they come back for Christmas vacation, after a month of them, you'd be ready.
Kids, I'm busy, gotta go.
Yeah, I'll be, Mom, give me this, Mom, give me that.
Okay, council, we'll go back to resident comments. Thank you for coming
Thanks,
in.
Thank you.
Resident comments, please come to the podium, state your name and your address. Please address all comments to the entire city council. This is not a time to address individuals on the council or time for debate. Please address the council with respect and courtesy. To the council, this is time for us to listen to the ideas and information our residents are bringing to our attention. I also remind the council this is not time for debate. Please make all questions to the citizens as informational as nature as possible. And I also remind the council to please address the public with respect and courtesy that all our city residents deserve. That being said, is there a city resident who wishes to address the council? Come on up.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. My name is Alicia Jacoby. I reside at 1512 8th Avenue, right here in Belle Plaine. And the purpose of me coming to this meeting is to respond to a hearing that took place on the 21st of September. It was a hearing that we were not aware of until we saw the dog in our neighbor's yard. which prompted us to ask questions, obviously. Unfortunately, there was a situation that had a direct impact to our family. The situation has been ongoing, and with the last incident, we did file a formal report to the police officer who removed the dog after the attack on both our dog and my husband. And we were just kind of discouraged and have concerns following that hearing. So the concerns that we have is not being notified at all, especially when the incident occurred on our property. And injuries, to our family and to our dog, and then also caused trauma to our children who witnessed it. Other concerns is we no longer feel safe or secured. And we also are concerned about the financial impact that it's also had to care for, our dog as well as for our husband, or my husband, not ours, sorry. And then, concerned about the responsibility that just has not been taken for this dog's behavior that, has caused repeated incidents towards our family pet too. So we are not sure. I have been conversing with Mayor Fish, and it was declined for us to be able to have a hearing because there's not a charge against our family. We do feel that it's unfortunate that we were not able to provide information, especially when there was remarks made against our family. And we also have witnesses, photos, and the police report. So we really do want something to be followed up, I guess, in that regard. And we would like for it to somehow be, I don't know, I don't want to say like reopened, but something different has to happen. Especially when we're not sure what the stipulations were made or what contract was made with this family, but we've already witnessed that it's not being followed.
And after it's not been followed, have you called the police to let them be aware
with
of
the
that?
email that we have corresponded with Mayor Fish today, it is to our understanding that we are to call the police.
Okay.
The last witness was Halloween night, when the dog is out without the harness.
I'll just reiterate, the council did not make the mistake. I made the mistake in not informing you, and I was misled by the defendant on the relationship between you guys and him.
Absolutely.
And like a fool, I accepted his explanation and asked him if he could ask your husband to attend the meeting. He said, well, I don't think he'll do that. And I said, well, how about a letter? And he said, well, I'll see. I'll look into that. And he obviously did not. And we did not have the correct information. As I indicated to you today in an email, that's never going to happen again. They don't know it. They have another dog case coming up in 2 weeks. I will make sure both the defendant and the plaintiff are aware of the hearing. As for the other part of this, I consulted our city attorney and was told I could not reopen the hearing because we had had the hearing and we had made a decision, and it was not in our power to hold a new hearing on it. You're always welcome to come and do just what you're doing tonight, is let them know how you feel. Now we understand how you feel. I will insist to our police department to patrol that area a little more often, looking for that dog to possibly be out. And we will be down there May 1st to see if the fence is built. And if the fence is not built, and I don't mean under construction, I mean built, we will take legal ramifications then. As far as the legalities concerning your dog and your husband, those the city council never had the authority to order payment of those injuries. That would have to be done in a court of law. So as I said in my email, I recommended to get an attorney and seek that. But the council did not make the mistake. I made the mistake.
Mhm.
And Well, that's probably our 5th or 6th dog case in 10 years, and I've never contacted the plaintiff or the defendant before. It was always just the person that got the nuisance hearing, and I realized that. Realizing now what I know, that was an entirely big mistake, and I apologize for that, but it's nothing I can actually legally do about it now, other than see that our police watch and make sure that that's enforced. And like I said, any of those incidents that occur in that neighborhood, whether it's a dog killing a cat or another dog fight, please call the police and inform them so we have a record of what's going on.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things we've learned too. Along the way, after this is the 4th attack, the 3rd one on our property, we have been trying to keep the peace. You know, we want to have healthy neighbor relationships. And we've done a lot of praying too, and just trying to do good without expecting anything in return, basically. With this last one just being so severe and involving another family member, we obviously felt the need to call the police officer and have it properly handled. We are caught by surprise that in the end, they're being honored and rewarded, in my opinion. And we're just kind of left on the side to deal with what has been, you know, having a true impact on us. And it's really unfortunate. It is.
What would you have us do now at this point if you could have your wish granted?
What our wishes at the time when the dog was removed, our wishes were we wanted either the dog to be removed if a proper fence or security of the dog, you know, was not able to be made, and we wanted coverage of the vet bills. Those were our only wishes, and none of it has really happened. They've declined, you know, to cover our vet bills, and they came back and they've actually changed the story, saying our dog went over to their property and attacked, when that's not true. We even have eyewitnesses too for that. And it's involved neighbors too. We've had this last one, a neighbor had to help get the boys inside because they were crying and bawling, and help get the dogs, help Jay, you know, separate the dogs. The other incident that was in late April or May, which also caused injury to our dog, it was just me that was outside, and the kids were playing with chalk on the sidewalk while our dog was laying in our front yard. Dog came bolting over, the neighbor's dog, and I didn't know what to do, so the neighbor at the same residence to the south of us had to come over and separate the dog for us.
I totally understand why your rationale for wanting to keep the peace and not reporting these previous incidents. But I think when something like this does happen, even if you want to keep the peace, it's really important to report those so the city has a record that, you know, because we were told that this was the first incident. And now we find out that it wasn't.
Well, and that's why I'm so frustrated, because we really should have been considered into the hearing.
I agree.
We would have avoided a lot of this,
Mhm.
and we would have been able to provide dates and photos and witnesses who have been involved. And in the end, a decision was made. And unfortunately, I really, it's human nature for error. I totally understand that. But I really am not, I question if it truly was for the best gesture of the community, because there was no survey of the community members, and the other two neighbors of mine are concerned. They're concerned they have pets too. They now have changed their ways on, now they tie their dogs out in the back. They don't want to be involved in another incident, you know, of trying to separate.
Wasn't
This
the
dog?
agreement for this dog, it has to be
Has to be on a harness.
It has to be on
Yeah.
a 5-point harness whenever it's out.
And
Has to
we
be
have
on
not
harness.
witnessed that. We have witnessed it out
And
on
I
a
hate to have you like,
distribution of things.
sound like you're gonna spy on your neighbors,
Well,
but
that's-
I would,
I don't want to
when
do
that
it.
dog is out and it's not on a harness, get photographs, get your camera out and get a photograph, get a video, and then call the police, because that's a
Yeah.
violation.
And, you know, we can do that moving forward. This just all seems
No,
very
you're right.
unfortunate.
And we
It's very
can't
unfortunate.
fix that, But I think for you, you've got to know now what you have to do to protect yourself and your family.
Well, we
And-
don't even feel safe for the fence to be built by May 1st. The incidents have been occurring closer and closer together. And unfortunately, the first one was in their yard when Ava was chasing their cat and their dog. But and they also had an incident of walkers walking by, and they sprayed that dog in the eyes. And that the only report, I was not there, but the neighbor Facebook messaged me just to be aware, hey, this is what happened, and said how there's stupid people spraying, our dog, and now our dog, might potentially become mean. So I don't know. I responded, so sorry, I hope, recovery, will be speedy, whatever. It doesn't matter.
But from now on, you have to call the police when there's a violation,
Sure.
because that's the only way from now on you're going to get anything resolved.
I think from now on, a solution to this is us moving. Because the instance that happened, the dog has been on a leash. That is how the dog is tied out. So, they did take what proper dog owner, but it's just as soon as the dog's off the leash, we'll bolt into our yard. And so there is just too many incidents. And now that it's involved injury to the husband, and, the boy is still, waking up at night and having nightmares and whatnot. And it's all unfortunate. It really
Yeah.
is. But we're very discouraged by the lack of involvement with the hearing, remarks that were made against us that were untrue. I think that there was, lies that were spoken, unfortunately, just to justify the situation that they're in. And again, human nature. But we just feel very unsupported, neglected, and defeated.
What kind of a dog do you have?
We have, we adopted her. It is, they say, a mix between like a German Shepherd and like a Akita, but now they're saying it doesn't, other clinics say it doesn't look like that.
Is it bigger or smaller than the?
It's medium size. It's the same size as that dog.
Okay.
And we also were not sure if there was like a request for a third party testing of their dog, or how it was provided, what breed their dog is, because we're not aware of what breed their dog is. I think it was provided during the hearing.
Yeah, he claimed it was a second generation what?
Sharpei.
Yeah,
I had in my notes lab mix.
Sharpei lab mix, yeah.
So there was like no formal like lab testing or anything of what breed that dog is.
No, we've never done that.
Okay. So that would just be another concern of ours too.
Are you concerned that it's
Mm-hmm.
a pit bull?
Of some sort, yeah, we are. We, have not really been in a situation like this, and
Does it look like it has
kind of, yeah.
pitbull?
Yeah. But I can't, say. So that it was to my understanding in an email with Mayor Fish that the neighbor provided evidence on what the dog was, but it sounds like.
They have to do that for licensing, don't they, Sandy? If there's a question, or what, the breed?
Have to, no, but if there's a question, we ask for it. Which will just be a that's
Yeah.
saying it. It's not like we get a DNA lab result.
What prompts such a question? Is it for me to request for you guys to question
Yeah, we could see what the vet.
We could ask the vet what he thinks it is.
it?
And we can do that.
And there's no way,
We're
like,
gonna have to have the law enforcement down there too, because from what I'm understanding here, we approved for him to have that being on, not on a leash, not a leash, a harness. And he told us flat out that it got out of its
leash. So if it was on a harness, it would not get out.
So if it's not on harness,
if it's
what's, is
still not
there,
on a
is that a
harness now,
violation?
It's a dog at large violation. But again, you have one police officer on duty that they can do extra patrolling, but I get this same question from residents all the time concerning some of our houses that seem to have some other activities going in them. And yes, we patrol those areas extra, but that doesn't mean we're always going to see it and catch it. But we can tell the police if we want A Avenue driven 2, 3, 4 times every shift.
I have not requested that at all.
No, we
I think you
will,
guys have requested,
we
but
will request it
I'm
from our
not
police
sure
department.
what need there is for that, because we have observed police, making their rounds, and we can't catch incidents too. We're not going to be home peeping out our windows, and we don't want to, but
Well, we can just ask them to drive that road more often, specifically looking to see if that dog's out and is it in its harness?
mhm.
Our chances of catching that probably aren't real good, but that nonetheless, they may get the message that the police department is looking at their dog.
Sure.
Orders that were given.
Concern, Alicia, my own dog was jumped twice when I was out walking, and I understand
Yeah,
the emotional
it's-
part.
Now, dogs are a liability, and as an owner of a dog, you have to take extra responsibility to ensure that your dog is under control at all times. That's the part of being responsible dog owner.
Yeah, and I don't think that the decision that was made and with the hearing and us not being involved and to provide accurate, pictures and facts and all that, witnesses, whatever it is, but I feel the responsibility has not been made. And unfortunately, it's them looking victorious, and it makes me want to walk back on my own, why keep the peace? Why be quiet? Why try to be, promoting healthy neighbor relationships, be forgiving? It makes me not want to.
Well,
do
it takes both sides to do it. And your neighbors have to respect you enough to realize that you've got an anxiety over their dog, and they should, out of respect to you, have that dog always under control. And if they don't, that's their problem, not yours. And you're not at fault by calling the police and telling them that or calling City Hall and saying that this dog is not under control. I can't fix what happened before, but moving forward, you've got to be proactive to protect your family and not let that happen again. And that's the only way that the city and the police can help you.
Yeah.
In the meantime.
No, yeah.
So
we've been
you're
searching.
not at fault, and you're not a bad neighbor, and you're not a bad person by calling and reporting that they're not following the law and what was set, because they had their time and they were told what they had to do. And if they don't follow it, they're at fault.
Sure. Yeah, no, we've been searching for residency, outside.
We don't want you to move, and
Well,
that's
but
and I understand your
really
feelings. So
is.
we've
Yeah,
got to.
it's just too many times, and now that the children are all,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it's that is a decision that we are needing to consider. But I really appreciate, and following up on the email, it was really just to give context, because there really is just so much to this.
Mhm.
And I would have been happy to provide that, at the hearing. In fact, we have 2 witnesses. They were wanting to come today, and I said, I don't know if that's the right action. It was the neighbors that were directly involved, because they feel compassionate and they feel at threat too. So, but I appreciate your guys' time. And I really hope, like Mayor Fish said, he will honor both parties in the future, because that is really what is deeply troubling throughout this whole thing.
Yep.
So,
Keep your eyes open and let us know what you see.
oh,
If they're
sure.
breaking that that order,
Yep.
because that's what will get it.
If your neighbors are concerned as well,
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Let them-
And we unfair and
well, let
unjust.
them know.
If they see, it doesn't have to just be you. Let your other neighbors know if that dog is out.
It's just difficult because it just sets
It
up more
is,
of a
I know.
hostile.
I know,
It's something that you want to do.
But I know
That's the
you're,
way it could be resolved. Alicia,
Yeah.
you know. Ultimately, which is what we want. We want it to be resolved, and we don't want you to move, and we want
Yeah.
the kids to be okay. And dog to be okay.
All right, well, thank you guys. for
nice
your
to
time.
see you.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah, good to see you guys all. Have a
All right.
good night.
Are there any other residents who would like to address the council tonight? If not, let's move to Michael. You want to come up? Windstream, which has the newest stuff underground for internet and cable and everything that they have installed in the city of Belle Plaine at this point. If I'm right, you guys are the only ones with fiber optic at this point.
Well, I think you guys, there is another company that services this, but we're, you know, as of June 1st this year, deployed our fiber network within, well, it's accessible outside the city limits, but for residents and businesses within basically the city limits of fiber optic connectivity up to gigabit speeds. That is, yes, it's our buried fiber with alternate routes coming in and out of town, east and west and north and south. And so for a push, let me get, I'll tell you a little bit more, and thanks, Mayor Fish, for including me tonight. But yeah, I just wanted to let people to that local approach, and I'm responsible for Belle Plaine is one of the markets that I cover on Hiawatha. I'm in Cedar Rapids. Our office is in Hiawatha, Iowa, and we have also residential people as well as their small business people. And just to tell you, to be more familiar with our company, Windstream is part of engineers construction, because we historically had outsourced that to subcontractors, and we have that control and a better customer experience hopefully as a result of that. So just wanted to let you know of that availability now that's in place, and certainly for businesses and as I mentioned, residential, which I don't handle that. And then Kinetic, part of Windstream, is the small medium sized arm of Windstream. We like to make it confusing with a different name, but trying to segment the market between large enterprise customers and our medium and small business customers that Kinetic, part of Windstream, serves as a marketing name. So the and just you guys know the importance of, and we've had those discussions with Steve and the mayor about we learned a lot from the derecho and having redundancy. We learned a lot from the derecho and having redundancy and having that local part of that, and local presence is very important in that community. Is that in education, how important that is to have the internet speeds at home, that you don't have that 3 o'clock syndrome when all the kids are home and everyone's online and you can't use the internet. So that's kind of been the traditional way things have been until, as fiber now and more prevalent and being deployed in, rural areas. And there's different funding mechanisms available for schools. For example, there's the telecommunication services, and then that goes into a fund that funds districts and libraries. And so there's funding sources for schools, and that, we have the infrastructure for the Belle Plaine schools. That's, with their current contracts and what their particular needs are is one example. Rural health care is also an area that we participate as well through the funding part of, and it's separate from the US, or part of having that internet connectivity. So, well, that's important. And as we were going through that, hopefully, place that may be. And so, yeah, we just continue to make those, as I said, those investments, and just want to let you know that you guys are important, and or what have you, visiting with other local businesses. And, that's what I'll be here for. So just wanted to familiarize yourself with with our company and what we do.
I have Kinetic. In fact, you guys came through door to door
Okay.
this
Yeah,
summer, and so I took the Pepsi challenge and switched
Okay.
over, but I'm very happy.
Oh,
with
good,
it.
good. I was
Good
actually,
speed. In fact, I saw on Facebook where MediaCom was down 2 or 3 different times, and I wasn't. So I was happy, because I frequently have to sometimes work from home and use the internet. So the speed's every bit as good as what I had before, if not better.
Excellent.
So
great.
it's a good system. I was happy you guys finally got
Yeah.
the fiber optic in, because it's a good system.
You're right. Yeah, well, great to hear. Yeah, that was, it was up to me. We had done it sooner, but yeah, we try to, deploy it as soon as we can, as resources allow. So we're fortunate
And I
to.
think the
to have it done.
technicians like in Marengo, so I mean, we have someone really close.
Yeah, there's several
Yeah.
that cover from Marengo here.
Yep.
A little bit into Williamsburg too. So
Do you
Yeah,
have a
so-
business card that,
I do, yes.
because I've had an ongoing struggle with Windstream getting hooked up to fiber.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mhm. I've got notes and dates and names and
Okay.
Are they
Yeah, I have to go.
I know what your problem is with the right across the street, right? Yeah.
We can't get it across the street to your house or something, or?
I don't know. It's
Okay.
it's a long
A long
story.
story. Gotcha.
It's an
Understand.
ongoing story. I thought I was gonna get hooked up on May 17th. They
Mhm.
cut my dial tone on May 16th. Guy showed up and said, I can't give you fiber. I can't hook you up to fiber. So give me your business card.
Yeah, you bet. I'll get that
And
for
I
you.
think, did you have any,
Do you go out to Highway 30 now?
No, it's gonna be just pretty much, for now, right in town.
We're like a mile or 2 miles off of, I think, MediaCom.
Okay.
So
Well, there is, you could keep checking back, but there's possibility of a fixed wireless high-speed connection, which is just as good as fiber too. That could be an option for you. I don't want to make any promises, but
we
That's
also have a
something-
gamer, so.
oh, okay,
Yeah, you
So
didn't
that's-
mention anything about holding up to gaming.
yeah.
That's right.
Well, let me get you my card and feel free to give me those details. But any other questions or anything else that I can answer for you all today?
thank you.
Sorry that didn't get done.
Any other questions? Well, I
It's
thank
fine.
you, Michael, for coming in.
Thanks for your time.
Yep.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks,
Have a
Michael.
good evening.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Move to agenda item number 8, discuss for possible approval of renewal of Class C liquor license for Sunday sales to O'Leary's Office Tap at 825 12th Street, Belle Plaine, Iowa. Questions on this one? If not, looking for a motion.
I make a motion to approve renewal of Class C liquor license with Sunday sales to O'Leary's Tap.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Last chance for discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Move to 9A, discuss for possible approval to grant a utility credit of $177.60 at 1403 Fourth Avenue because of a leaking toilet. Questions on that one?
I know we asked last time, I'm just gonna ask it again because I'm dumb. So this is 2 months, but it has to do kind of with mid-billing, is that right?
Yeah, so a lot of times if someone doesn't know what's going on, by the time they get the first bill, the second bill's time is already
Got it, okay.
almost through. Because generally we're reading the front half of a month, bills come at the end of the month. So you already have a
Right, okay.
length
That's
of
just
time in
what I
there
was
too. So that's why
curious.
sometimes you'll see 2 months like that.
Okay,
Any other questions on 9A? Need a motion?
I'll make a motion for approval to grant a utility credit at 1403 Fourth Avenue.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
aye,
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Discuss for possible approval to grant a utility credit 37888 at 1002 Fifth Avenue for an upstairs toilet that was running. Tell it to
Toilets are
quit,
just-
tell it to quit jogging. Just sit there.
Nasty.
Any questions? Looking for a motion.
I move to approve utility credit of $378.88 for 1002 Fifth Avenue.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Last chance for discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
aye,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Move to Resolution 2211-1, a resolution setting a date of meeting at which the proposed to approve a development agreement with Wiley Plaza LP, including annual appropriation tax increment financing. So what you're doing is setting the public hearing for what, November 16th. Steve and the lawyers will have all the pertinent details on how they're going to profit from this at that hearing. But if you would like to try and quiz him right now, feel free. But I don't think he has any of that information with him.
I can do the best I can. If anybody has questions.
This only has the hearing stuff in it,
Okay.
or the setting the hearing date. There's another whole pile of papers coming for the hearing. Discussion? Looking for a motion to approve this hearing.
To approve resolution 2211-1, setting a date of meeting at which it is proposed to approve a development agreement with Wiley Plaza.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
aye,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Move to the first reading of ordinance 2214, an ordinance that revised section 5520, violations and penalties concerning animal control penalties. Sandy went through and got this written up the way you had proposed it. So the first example is the first one, allowing or permitting an animal to run at large. The first offense would be $100, second and subsequent offenses $200. And she went through and changed all those $30 fines to fit that same sequence that you guys suggested at the last meeting.
Can I ask, is this per calendar year? Or is this
Indefinite.
for indefinite for the particular animal, for the life of the animal? Or how is this? I guess, how are we,
Well, the way
time limit on it?
it doesn't indicate a time limit, doesn't indicate yearly, so I would imagine it would just be rolling. Continue.
On the life of the critter?
Mhm.
Okay,
That's how I would understand it.
that's fine, that's good.
So if a household has 2 dogs, then there'd be separate, they would just be viewed separately.
I would think that the offense would be by dog license,
Mhm.
and that if that particular,
I can't convict the second dog if he sat in the coop and didn't leave. If he was dumb enough to follow the first one and we busted them both, they're getting 2 charges.
so dog A
Well, I just-
violates, it gets $100, dog B violates, is that $100 for dog B, or is that $200 for the address? I'm not being picky, I'm just saying that it's gonna come up.
It could be asked, yeah.
Well,
My assumption would be the first offense. for
First
that cat,
offense for both of them at the same time if it occurs at the same time.
Even if it doesn't.
Dog A gets out and is running around, dog B gets out a month later, runs around, that's $100, now it's $200. Doesn't matter which
I was
dog.
thinking it was
Well, you're
100 and
talking
100.
about-
It would be 100 and 100.
yeah,
You're talking per animal.
Is it per animal or per address?
address, that's,
Well, no, it's
Such,
animal.
such animal is
Such
not the,
animal.
such animal is not the address.
I'm just, it's gonna come up, I'm just
I know.
asking dumb
I know, I
questions
get it.
because
I
it's
know, I
gonna
get
come
it.
up and people are gonna say, yeah, but
No, I get it.
My assumption would be animal just because of how it's worded. Because you're permitting an animal.
And each one
Yeah.
says such animal,
Such
so
Okay.
I think we'll be okay.
Why does it say such animal? Why do we say an animal?
Because that's probably the way the lawyer originally wrote
yeah,
it.
legalese.
Come on, English people. Those lawyers.
Is it
have
like
it-
vi and
Those
thou?
lawyers have their same language themselves.
Does, does,
Whereas and therefore, and
well, does such
be it
indicate that
enacted by
animal?
the city
I wonder,
council of Belle
you know,
Plaine instead
an
of
animal,
Belle Plaine
but such
Council's
indicates
acting
Right.
on it.
that animal?
Exactly,
Is
I'm
that
sure,
right?
absolutely.
Okay,
an animal would be
yes,
by the address.
yes.
Or by the owner.
Okay.
Yep.
What did you just decide over here? Or what did you say?
Such animal indicates that
A
animal.
Specific animal.
An animal indicates
Any animal.
an animal.
Any,
Yeah,
my dog just.
that's my logic.
My pig just got out and we couldn't catch it.
Oh, God,
There's a
we
pretty
need
good-
licenses.
There's a pretty good chance our cops won't be able to catch a pig either.
I think they're prohibited.
They are.
Breeze.
Oh, gosh.
You get a fainting goat, they just drop,
Yep,
no running away.
no kidding.
Yeah, you only have to.
We don't have to
shoot
feel
over them
bad,
and
it's,
they
it's
just
Day of the
drop
Dead,
over.
so we're allowed to be a little wacky.
Any further questions on this?
Nice job, Sandy.
Good on toes.
So I'm gonna make you go through readings tonight and the other 2 readings in the next, if you're changing the ordinance. So I need a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2214.
I make a motion to approve first reading of ordinance 2214, ordinance that revises section 55.20 violations and penalties.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mary.
Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Okay, go to the employee handbook. I did not pull anything out of this. It's the same handbook you were presented at the last meeting, so when you've got stuff that you question, at least give your fellow council mates a page that we're supposed to be discussing. So where do you want to go first?
Let's go to page 6, 3.2. Wage increases just to be, I guess, understanding, wage increases. So the supervisor of that department will bring recommendations to the city council, and the city council will make the decision on the percentage or amount of a raise. Or I guess, I mean, that's how I read it. I just want to verify that
Well,
that's what
the
it,
City council has to approve it. Park board has always made a recommendation on parking.
okay, that's how I read it. I was just
The
curious.
city administrator usually always makes a recommendation on those.
And then it goes to vote by the city council.
Yes,
Mhm.
all those you have to approve.
Okay. All right.
Next one.
Bear with me.
So this is gonna be kind of in-depth in my eyes. Page 8, 4.2 paid holidays, and it'll tie into page 9, 4.3 vacation. I don't know if we can change this or take recommendations. Paid holidays, 4.2, 9 paid holidays, eliminate number 10. And on the back end, make that up on page 9, 4.3. In a different form.
Meaning you want to increase the amount of vacation, or you just want to say that personal days and your birthday are
Eliminate,
under the paid vacation leave instead of a paid holiday?
yeah, I would just say eliminate 10, but I was looking at this, paid vacation and somehow backing it up to where, yes, they're losing 3 days, but I would rather give them a week more somehow sooner, because I look at 25 years, which is you do 25 years of service and you finally get 5 weeks. I would like to back that up somehow to where we can make it more employee friendly to, 2 to 8 years, you're getting 2 weeks. I don't know. I think me personally, within 5 years, maybe 3 weeks or something like that. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there.
Well, I see what you're saying. You're saying don't change the amount of vacation, just make it so they get that level of vacation soon.
Yes. So eliminate the 2 personal days and your birthday as a holiday, which is only 3 days, but then back it up on the backside of a vacation. And you're getting another week somewhere.
So you're saying
You're
like
gaining
instead,
2 days.
instead of saying 2 to 8 years, you're going 2 weeks. You could say
2
2 to 5, you're getting 2 weeks, and then after 5, you're getting 3.
Yes.
Because they're only adding 2 more days really to
Correct.
then the benefit.
Yes. And then make it sooner, like do it in my eyes, every 5 years. That way, maybe at, I don't know what it equates to, 20 years, then you're at your 5 weeks or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And not waiting for 25 years to get to 5 weeks. Just give them a little bit more incentive to get vacation sooner, because the way I read this is they can carry vacation, but they can't carry their holidays, which is another incentive for the employee.
Because that's honestly what we have
You
at work,
can-
is that if
you
you're
don't
5
carry
years, you
over
get 3
vacation.
weeks.
Vacation is
I
used
thought
or
that
lose it.
I thought I read that if it was
No.
approved by the
I
administrator
You may not carry over accrued vacation beyond your next anniversary date,
without the city administrator's approval.
right?
So if he approved it, they could carry it though.
Okay, yes. Yes, I'm sorry, yes. Normally use it or lose it. If you don't seek permission.
Which would be the employee's fault and not seek permission.
I think in the past, we've approved up to 2 weeks, Like, cause the chief couldn't take vacation because
Right.
there was nobody here. to-
Shorthanded or
Some
something.
of
Yeah.
these- some of the police
Because there's gonna be
officers, 'cause they're at-
situations like that.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
When we had officers going to
I've
ILEA
done,
all
we've
the
done
time.
that 2 weeks.
Yeah, but to me, you lose 2 paid holidays in your birthday, but you gain vacation on the backside and it can benefit you to carry it. To me, that's an incentive.
When people take a vacation within the city, can people take like 2 days vacation?
Yes.
Or do they
Yeah.
have to total weeks?
They can
Really,
do it by
You can take
hour,
it.
I believe. Is what I read. I think they can do it by
Yeah,
hour.
I think you can do it, like, if you need a couple hours off.
No less than 1 hour.
Okay.
But that's just my idea. I mean, that's not set in stone, but I just want to throw it out there.
It's not a bad idea.
I mean, my work, when we work 5 years, you get 3 weeks.
Mhm.
I think a lot of companies are that way. If
Some
you
just-
have a 5-year anniversary, you then get a kind of a boost to how many vacation days. I think going 8 years and only getting 2 weeks is
Mhm.
kind of a disincentive. I mean,
That's-
I kind of agree with you. I think that's not a bad.
Well, I think Garrett's idea is, it seems a little more, oh geez, I just totally my brain dead. More appealing, you know.
Sandy, how many years have you been here now?
Well, then we better change it again.
You get 4 days.
Well, I would say the best thing to do is then, if we're gonna attempt that, is circle 10 and have Steve and Sandy redo this chart.
And to be clear, 90 days, you get 40 hours. 2 to 5 years, you get 2 weeks. At the start of your 5th year,
So no, it'd be 6 to
6 to 10.
10,
6 to 10.
6 to 10.
11 to 15,
Yeah.
16 plus. Is that what you're thinking?
I wrote down and like I said, I didn't do this all completely out. I was just doing it as I went, but it'd be 0 to 5 or whatever that would be. And then 6 to 10, 11 to 15 and 16 to 20. But I didn't know where it would all fall. I didn't write it all out. So yes, that's the 5-year increments.
I guess
If
the
that makes
one
sense.
question you have to ask and have to think about, does this put any extra financial burden, or is this just pretty much kind of a wash deal?
Well, yeah,
You've got 2 days of how many employees and,
I mean, it's gonna add to the budget.
right, that's
Like
what
I said, it's just an idea. that
No,
I was
no,
running
it's-
by, so-
Exactly.
Well, it shouldn't add to the budget if they use.
If you're paying
those
them,
3 days anyway.
you're just not getting,
If they do the 2 personal days in their birthday every year, if you're converting that to vacation time, it's not gonna add to the budget because they can already do it.
But he's not talking about adding the days to the,
Changing the increments.
he's just changing the income.
Well, you eliminate number 10, so you don't get two
you don't get those
personals.
3 days.
Yeah,
So you're just
being
re-
the only person actually covered by that in here,
Mhm.
you're taking days away from me.
but you're gaining on the backside.
You're gaining an extra week of vacation. You're gaining 2 days
No,
because you've been
I'm
here.
not. I'm not
Why is
gaining
that?
vacation, I'm just getting it sooner. Me personally, if I'm gonna fall in that 6 to 10, I'm gonna get the same amount of vacation that I would have next year anyway, except I lose 2 personal days on a vacation and a birthday.
Because you're right in the middle.
Weeks next year. I'm still gonna be at 3. Not
So
6
3
to
days.
10, but I lost 3 days.
Right.
Now,
In the concept.
So you're the exception.
There'll be a
Well, I
little
may
a-
not be the only
There'll be a
exception.
little asterisk.
Anybody that's
or-
been here, anybody that's been here less than 2 years, they're gonna lose 3 days
Because they don't qualify for the
because
vacation.
they don't qualify to
Right.
the next bump yet.
Okay.
I don't disagree with making the moves. I mean, I think that's great.
Well, I think
Maybe there
there,
needs to be some type of.
well, I think then
compromise,
we just leave it as it is and then leave it at the 8 years and
or do
give
you-
and take.
Or or,
I mean,
you know.
But I saw where you were going with the incentive part, and I don't disagree with that.
I don't either. You know, do you, what's the word, grandfather in? So at
Well, you
least you're
could say
covering,
that, anybody
you know,
that falls within that time frame, if you're there, of course, then now you really muddy up the, it's not like you got thousands of people to keep track of. You're just looking for future.
Or do you, you know, do away with the birthday and make those kinds of moves, or?
You're saying keep the 2 personal days. Related to birthday.
Or do you leave them in for, you know?
Yeah, I get where you're at.
Fiscal year?
I do, but in my eyes, I was just seeing give and take there. And
I might have to check the police contract to see if that language is in the police contract. I could run and get
They
that.
would have to follow what's in the contract, which would be what's currently there.
Would there be a way that we could?
I do like the 2 to 5, 6 to 10, and I mean, I like
I do
those.
too, don't get
I
me
like
wrong.
those regardless.
I don't dislike it, I'm just saying,
No,
there
but I
is
mean,
an impact.
No, that's why you gotta
To some-
talk
some
it through.
people,
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's up to the council. What do you want? How about we leave it as is until Steve and Sandy work on some similar proposal to redo this when we redo the handbook next year.
That's agreeable.
Present to the council.
Because I like the idea that if someone's been with the city, not having to wait till 8 years to get 3 weeks vacation,
Mhm.
because I think
See,
that's
why
a
I
nice
like that
incentive for
time.
people to, when you get to that
So-
5-year anniversary, that's kind of like that extra.
Have them rewrite that and try and make it so that we could eliminate item 10 on here and it would be covered
Yeah,
in their vacation.
right. But then it's fair to people that are in the gap.
That are in the middle of it.
So you could try and
But I think the
propose
2 to
something
5
like
and
that
the 6
when
to
you
10
get
stuff are good
the
ideas.
renewal for the police contract.
Yeah, because I would have,
Possibly have that.
we would have to write an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, if we changed any of the vacation stuff, which isn't a
Well,
big deal.
No, you can't change
If
the
we,
police contract.
I mean, if we increase their vacation,
Well, then you could do it through a memorandum of understanding, but to just flat out change it, you can't because they have a signed contract.
right? I'm just saying if we change the vacation
So
days.
prepare something along that line and see if at the next negotiation point, if we can't introduce that to them and say, look, we're trying to give you more vacation and soon. That work for the council?
Mhm.
When's the police contract up?
I think it
It's
is
gotta be-
3 years.
Yeah, there's gotta be 2 years.
We just approved it.
Okay, anything else?
On page 17,
Can you, okay, go ahead. Yeah, go. Go
I'm
17.
sorry. Down at the bottom, 612, the vehicle and equipment policy. It is under my understanding that our insurance does not cover anybody to use any type of equipment, tool, or another thing was washing their personal vehicles with the water. I think this whole thing needs to be removed.
I guess I'd ask Steve, to your knowledge, is this important to people? Is this a long-standing custom with the
When, in the winter time, when, you have ice all over your vehicle, what I used to do and what Chuck used to do is we'd take turns, because you have the work truck out all day. You pull your vehicle in and let it drip off and spray it off and get the salt off of it. And another guy'd pull in and let, and you get ice kicked up underneath it or something like that. That's the extent that I've ever taken advantage of this policy, and Bill didn't have a
But
problem
was
with it.
that your personal vehicle or the city truck you were driving?
When the city vehicle was out for the day, we would take turns this is at the sewer plant, pull in because it's heated garage, let your vehicle warm. Right. Or like when they haul snow, there are no vehicles inside the shop. Some people would pull in the shop so their vehicle could melt off. I don't know that anybody washed it in there. I don't know of anybody doing work in there, but I think Lyle isn't incorrect by saying that employees are covered by insurance when they have a work-related purpose. Not particularly in a personal related purpose.
I'll just throw an instance out there, not to, so when I worked at Eastside back in 2000, whatever it was, 2 or 3, when Eastside caught on fire. Was working after hours, paint booth caught on fire. Our department was there, all that insurance came, did everything. We had punched in, but crossed his timeout because he felt bad because he caught Eastside on fire. This company came and said, had you not been clocked in, we know you did. We understand what you're doing. You crossed your timeout because you didn't get paid because you caused damage. Had you not done that, you would have been liable for all damages to this building. So that's something that we open up to ourselves with employees not being clocked in, using city property
City property.
off the clock. That's something to consider.
Yeah, that's interesting. I just wondered if it
I
is.
mean, if no one is specifically asking you, because it says it has to have your permission, if no one's specifically asking you, then the assumption has to be that it's not happening.
So then if it, I mean,
Then
But
remove it from the
even with-
employee handbook.
But even with Steve's permission, the insurance does not cover it.
Yeah, that just puts the responsibility
But the
on
question was, is
me.
anybody taking advantage of it? And I'm saying it doesn't matter if they are, because.
I have no knowledge of this, and I had this conversation with Mark. So all of these
Yeah.
things are accurate.
But why would you open the door and have this in a handbook? You see what I mean? I mean, something like this.
I guess in
For the liability
defense
of
of the people that put the handbook together, this has been here long
Yeah.
Well,
before.
I know.
These two are myself.
I know.
This was a carryover from a handbook created. I don't know who created the first one, but I'm
Mhm.
assuming
well, that's-
probably Bill
we're
Daly.
just making
Taking-
changes that benefit.
And the other
city.
issue you have is when it says garage and tools, well, now you're
So,
putting wear and
let's
tear on
just
city
throw-
property. Yeah,
612 out.
I just have one question. The
Well,
last
you-
paragraph,
You have to keep that.
where do we put it?
I think in the same, I think in 612, you just eliminate the first paragraph. If it put, so 6.12
We just
vehicle,
call it a vehicle policy?
vehicle and equipment policy.
Because it's not equipment anymore, right?
Well, they still have to have a license to operate any kind of equipment. They have to have a valid driver's license to operate a backhoe.
Oh, I see
or
what you're saying.
anything
Okay,
per-
okay.
All right, so just throw out the one paragraph and leave the where it's an employee is required to operate a motor vehicle.
right.
And leave the one about
Having a
operating,
license.
having the license.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yep.
Where to now?
Page 11, 4.6, number 1. Again, just an idea. It says, maximum of 3 days before, the day of, and the day after the funeral. I say, why not just give them 3 days? Whether it's 2 on the front end, 1 on the during, or don't be specific about it. Just give them 3 days.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's,
I mean,
So you just
Just
give
three
them
days,
just
no
3
matter
days.
what.
Yeah.
3 days.
because maybe somebody wants more time after the funeral. You know, who knows how they want to do
Yeah,
it. Just-
grieving process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just
Or family coming in and, you know, you
Yeah.
don't need the day after, but you need the 2 days before.
yeah, something like that. So that was just an idea.
So just eliminate everything after the dash.
yeah.
Just 3 days. Page 13. Page 13, I didn't write down the one. Dang it, I didn't write that down. Let's see, I'll just read what I wrote down. Publix worth clothing changed from 300 to 350 per fiscal year. In this handbook, I guess, where I wrote that down. Down at the bottom, I guess, right
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
Publix
right at
Works
the bottom.
employees. So my question to that is,
It's,
does that also include boots in that?
that's part of clothing.
It
allowance,
is.
yeah. So it's
Okay.
been,
What
since
happened?
I've been here, I can't talk before that. So
Yeah.
the last 8 years anyway, in the public works contract, it always said $350.
And that's how much they got.
When this was created in 2017,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Jeff had the intention of changing it to 300 or if it was a typo from the get-go.
Okay,
I don't know.
well,
But I changed it to what we have always paid the 350. I mean,
Okay.
or that's always been the number we've honored.
mhm.
Now it's in alignment, so if we get audited and they say, well, why did they get 350? That says
That is
300.
what we're actually
Yeah.
doing. So,
I guess I'm not ever trying to take away from the city employees, and I'm not trying to cost us a bunch of money. I'm just asking that because when I say, does that include boots? Typically,
like
most policies, that is a separate entity. It's a clothing allowance, and then on the other end is a boot allowance per calendar year also. Just something that I've ran into and read a lot about, so it just gives an employee spending more tax dollars, but it gives an employee more, because boots are very expensive.
They are. It's probably half of that a lot of times.
Or more.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, the employee's already
Most of them,
behind,
It's like $150, $125.
so the employee's already behind the 8 ball. But like I said,
Let me tell you, wearing a suit was pretty damn expensive too, and I didn't get any clothing allowance.
we should have went to Goodwill.
How do you know I wasn't?
Well, I hope you
There's
were.
some nice things there.
So that was just something else. I mean, like I said, I just have ideas. They're not all right or the best ones, but just something I was thinking of.
Do you have a proposal on what you'd like to see?
Most boot policies that I've read are 125 to 150 per calendar year.
In addition to the,
In addition to your clothing allowance, yes.
and are you recommending that the clothing allowance stays at 350?
Yes.
Okay.
Because also, something else that is of the norm is employees that work outdoors are actually granted more money because of winter clothing allowance.
Well, the only ones that get the clothing allowance are public works.
Yeah, no.
Outdoors, so.
No, but I'm saying though,
I guess
Been
the
there.
question
Double
is,
been there.
how long has it been 350?
Yeah.
How many years?
As long as I
So
could
if we
find.
bump this to 500 and you're not specific, because maybe someone, because outdoor clothing, if you try to get any kind of heavy jacket or anything you have to do, and if as dirty as some of these jobs are, coat can get wiped
I
out.
would like that better than adding anything
I
specific.
think you
Yeah.
cover it all by just by
Yeah, no.
raising it to 500.
Okay.
Raise it to 500.
2 questions by me. Is it okay if we leave it fiscal year? Because that's how it's
Mhm.
originally written,
Yeah.
as opposed to calendar
Yeah.
year. Still
Absolutely.
12-month period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just tracks better with the financials on
Uh-huh.
our end. There was another question there a minute ago.
When do you want it to go into effect?
Oh, yeah. Would this go into effect immediately, current fiscal year, or?
We didn't budget for it.
We didn't budget for it, and how is that gonna,
So the impact would be 150 times 5, $750.
Do they all use their full quote?
I think we should do.
Sometimes. But that would be the max.
How does it look? How does the line item look right now at this point in the fiscal year?
Well, it would be $300 in road use tax. It would be,
No, I mean, how much of this would have been used already? If we have this pot of money for clothing allowance, how much has already been spent out of that this fiscal year?
let's say maybe $700 have been spent out of 350 times 5.
Don't they kind of make sure they get it
Out of
before the
1750.
before the year ends? Before the fiscal year ends, rather than,
They try. I send a reminder out usually along about the tail end of May, first part of June, kind of giving them a July date to target to try and hit the last
Well,
July
we-
meeting.
There's no pre-approval, you just ask for receipts on what they,
Well,
we
some of
have
them
two-
can actually charge it, like they all have permission to charge at Tyson's. The bill just comes straight to us. They don't pay for it at all.
Dre House?
Dre House Shoe Store does the
Okay.
same thing with them. Otherwise, yeah, they can go to anywhere they want and buy something
Okay.
and turn in the bill.
Well, if we can, I mean, if it can be budgeted, I think we should put it in, right away.
I just think everything's gotten so expensive.
Well, we have, 2 newer employees too that really may take. It's there. I don't know if
He
he
does.
knows.
Yes, he's used some of his own.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
Rather than
As
wait
soon
till
as we
fiscal year
distribute it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And one of the things that used to be is so if it was like PPE, like if you have to have your street working what do they call it? The high visibility jackets and vests do not count towards that. That's something that you
Your
get for,
personal protective equipment.
that's something
Safety.
that comes out of, yeah.
Yeah,
Comes out.
that would come out of a different.
Because one of those jackets is,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're ridiculously
Mhm.
expensive. Yeah. And I fully agree with that.
Other items.
Page 14, 5.7. Do we need to put language that it is for out of town or out of town travel or? Hmm. You just hate to assume.
I think if we make them drive their personal vehicle in town, that we should be paying them for it.
If they have to,
It
yeah.
has to be approved, so it's not like,
Yeah.
approve.
oh, I
Okay.
drove to work today, I
Yeah.
should be reimbursed for that. Well, that's not. an
Yeah,
approved
you're not gonna get
expense.
approved for that, but if they're using their personal vehicle to go from the shop to a work site, we should
Okay.
pay for
I
it.
got a guy using his personal vehicle and all his tools every day.
And what have I told you?
Yeah, I mean,
Paying the mileage.
yeah, and then,
So the kind of history here was when we started, there was only one person in the organization that got paid IRS rate, correct?
Right, the rest of us got.
The rest of us got
amount.
40 cents a mile. So the important thing about this is not,
Okay. Well, I know that we had revisited it. And I just, for some reason it was sticking in my head that it was for out of town. That's the only reason I brought it up.
approved instances covers.
Okay.
I think that conversation was when we were talking about, there's car allowance for the city administrator. There's
Okay,
a
yeah.
fee each month, and that's for out of town.
Okay, yeah.
I
that's,
wiped out my mileage. I just said if I have a car allowance, I'm not gonna be charging mileage.
yeah, that's the only reason I brought it up, if it needed to be in there, because for some reason that was sticking in my head. That's all.
Any more of these items?
I had a question about, also on page 14.6.2, under job postings. Do we need to talk about posting these online or on the city's website, rather than just newspapers, trade, and professional journals? Because I imagine
They
they're
are
already doing
They
it.
are always put there, but we can certainly add the language.
Okay.
Didn't we change who our official newspaper was?
Yes.
There's been a change that at some point we probably need to think or talk about.
Yes, but not tonight.
Okay,
I agree, but not tonight.
okay, so that's fine, but I just want to be that on the radar.
Okay,
Not
so
on
we
your-
had
You got 3 more years.
Facebook, what else did you say? Oh, just.
Yeah, social
Just
media sounds
would
good.
probably cover it, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Say something like online resources.
Yeah,
and-
right. Online.
Normal social media outlets where we post everything you need. Other items.
Just a question for Sandy on page 15, 6.4. The last paragraph. I could be wrong, and I guess I don't know if the police follow this handbook. I think you said they do, but I still believe that protected class is still covered under IPERS in 4 years, not 7.
It might,
So I didn't know if that needed to be.
I actually have an IPERS manual. And if there is something different there for protected class, I can add that language.
Because I'm pretty sure mine came, when I read mine, we're still 4 years. Like I said,
do
I
know
could,
there's also some language, like if you've been, the reason I didn't get
too in-depth.
too in-depth is it's like prior to a certain year,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's 4 years, but if you were here then, you've been here more than 7 years, so what does it matter?
Yeah.
You know?
No, yep.
So that's why I kind of, okay, that's a lot of blah, blah, blah. for
Yes.
nothing. But I will look and see if protected class is different.
Okay.
And if yes, I'll,
Just put it in there for them at
Yeah.
least, that way.
Other items to look at?
Page 16, top paragraph. I believe, try to do the best for everybody involved. Talk to some employees, public's work staff, 1 hour lunch, possibly going to and adjusting their hours from 7 to 3:30.
Taking a shorter lunch.
Shorter lunch and
day.
getting off earlier. So give them the same opportunity. They do a half-hour lunch and then they go from 7 to 3:30.
I wonder how they would feel about that.
I've got some messages from them.
Positive feedback?
Yes.
Okay, really.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we let Steve explore that with the employees? And if it seems like the majority of them say yes to that,
so if we change that section, we would also have to update the 7 to 4 in the public works hours section.
Mhm.
Other items.
The last thing I'll bore you guys with, page 39.
I'm not.
I don't know, statement of receipt, I don't know if this needs to be changed to 2022 as it states. I received my copy of the 2017 city employee handbook, and then also below it states 2017 again. I don't know if we want to change that to 22.
Rob.
So, thank you for listening to my ideas and
Thank you, Jared, for bringing that stuff up.
Good stuff. Yep.
Anything else before we move on? Get Steve on that right away so that you can get an official document.
So,
I'll talk about that in my administrator's report. That ties right in with what I talk about.
I'm talking to the employees on it, they'd rather have a half-hour lunch.
That's what I'm saying is that ties into what I'm going to talk about during my report.
question is, based on the things that we talked about here and whatever he finds out, if I make those changes, is it good to release or does it have to come back again?
I say it's good to release.
Yeah, I think so.
Be good with that? Okay.
Mhm.
All right, great. Thanks.
Committee of the whole, do you have,
Good, Steve.
Yeah, it's going really well. I stopped down there yesterday to check on the samples. I can't remember if we talked about this at the last meeting or not. Our normal laboratory was bought out by another laboratory and we're still struggling with them. So Nick just said, I'm going to get all of these samples from well 6. These are all what are known as specials. They're not our normal state hard testing. And he's going to be driving them to Ankeny once a week. They have a 5-day hold time. So like Monday through Wednesday or Thursday, he's going to collect samples at different times of the day. And they were really hitting it hard, I think, with sampling. And then take those to Ankeny so that we can get a data set.
Good.
And there are some constituents that I'm having them test for in addition to the other things we were testing for.
was the lab at Newt sold?
Yeah, it changed hands, it changed owners.
They're not going to, or they're not bright enough to do.
Well, the Ankeny is a state hygienic laboratory, so tested, not an independent laboratory. So they have directors out with Keystone. And we don't have to drill. It depends on the hold time of the sample because some of them don't have a very long hold time.
So eventually we'll get back to using speed.
That's the
Using
Keystone or whatever their new name is going to be.
And we do still use them
Yeah,
for
new names.
many of our tests.
Maytag.
It's microbes.
they haven't our new permit from the state after the permit was issued, and they were supposed to set up all the new tests that the state required us to do, and they missed a couple. And so we got called by the DNR, and Nick told them what was going on. He's like, okay, well, get this worked out with the laboratory.
So it's just they have it labeled as special instead of periodic or regular or whatever it's called.
All right, go to the city administrator's report.
All right. So we talked last time about the restructuring of public works. Job descriptions. And I've had 3 of the 5 people sign off on those. There isn't an issue with the other 2. I just haven't been able to connect with them. They were busy. So after I get those back, I'm going to go over those with each person individually if there are any questions. And then after that gets done, then we're going to meet all together and go over things like how the structure is going to be with the lateral leadership and spending policies and those types of things. That'll be a great time for me to go over and canvass everybody for the lunch policy and see what we're navigating through this. I think it's going pretty well so far. We're going to pick out a time that works for everybody on Monday morning to meet. Since I will be their direct supervisor more than weekly for a while. If everything's moving, we don't have any issues, it's going to play by ear, but on what emergencies may have happened over the weekend or things like that, right away on Monday morning, like 7 a.m., the water and wastewater guys have to be doing the rounds. They do the weekend rounds, but then they do more in-depth stuff on Monday morning. I talked with Nick and John and Jay, and they said maybe like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock on Monday mornings might be a good time. We'll go over, all right, what, housekeeping stuff, what do we have left over from last week? What are our goals this week, or what are our objectives for this week? Is there any equipment down? Jay had an idea of getting one of the big whiteboards from Kirkwood and putting it down at the shop, and then writing down on there. Sandy had the idea of breaking it down into like colors, and so if there are specific tasks for a specific person, those will be written down. Or if it's a group project, what needs to be done, we need to call locate, make sure backhoe's greased up, whatever, who's doing that. Then if there's anything wrong with any equipment, like you think you have a slow leak on a tire, the engine's using oil, anything like that goes directly on the board, and then Jay will address those. Anything that he feels is in his wheelhouse, he's going to fix in the shop. We're building a workshop in the city shop for Jay to have a workshop. I had a guy come out today. The lighting in there is very poor. If you guys remember when we were in there, it's not enough light so that you can work safely or do a good. You have to have a lot of. When I had to work in there doing stuff, you'd have to have so many work lights around. There's pretty good rebates right now for LED lighting upgrades, which is something that probably could have or should have happened after we went to solar. But the guy that came out, Jay and I walked around of where do we need the most lights, how many, motion sensing, things like, because it was the case that we'd have lights on in there all the time, but that doesn't really tell you if someone's in the building or not. If the lights are on, but if the lights are off, and then if someone's in there and the lights are on, and we end up getting security cameras or something like that, also if they're motion sensing lights, that increases the rebate. So you can set up the motion sensing. So if it's like, if no one moves in there for 30 minutes, they'll start shutting off. And
those are good because we have those artifacts.
Yeah, in the lights that are in there now are really hard to find. Like Al can't even find the bulbs. They're the big old, I can't even remember if they're mercury vapor or sodium or whatever. They're just enormous light bulbs. Yeah, 10, 15. I mean, they hum.
Right.
And
Yeah.
That's what I just did in our shop. I got a hold of a company and we did all LED lighting because we had them same ones that you're talking that you shut them off, you turn them on, and you're waiting 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But I guess into just ask you a question really quick is, did the guy that came out and looked at the lights think you would need more lights, or the fixtures we have now with LEDs that'll be sufficient?
So in the workshop area, which is the first bay,
Mhm.
like where the break room is and the tool room, that's where Jay wants his workshop.
Mhm.
There's gonna be more lights in there,
Okay.
and we're gonna brighten it up.
Yeah.
And then in the other parts, pretty much anywhere there's a fixture is going to have they have a pigtail. The bulbs are not like retrofit like these are. They're LED, they're diodes across the whole thing. So they last for 10 to 20 years.
Right.
You don't have to touch them again.
That's a smart move.
And with the rebates, I just think I worked with these guys when I was at Frontier. They're excellent. And, once we get a direction of how much it costs, we'll have to get another quote or something. But I know these guys their products are good, and they're all sourced from North America, the United States. So that was one of the things we worked on just this afternoon. I was working in the clerk's office a little bit today, trying to get some stuff going. So Jay's going to finish up the trim work on around Sandy's knee wall area. I had an email from Kirkwood today that I haven't been able to respond to yet about the punch list for Kirkwood. I think we're getting pretty close on that. Sandy and I toured that. We got a bunch of ideas and things are going to move around. Other city entities are going to grab some stuff. There's a lot of resources in there. I emailed V&K this morning or yesterday evening, I can't recall, just with any updates that they may have for us. And I hadn't heard back anything from Chris. So I think that it's important that we keep doing our own independent research and doing the thing, and investigating it, because that's actual data that we have. It's not guessing. And then we can, Jack, the filter guy, he checked. He's like, "How's the filter going?" I was like, "We're trying to get the sample thing figured out here." So, you guys saw it when I went down there and talked to them, and they had the samples there. You can look at these samples and you can look at these samples, and these are this color and these are absolutely crystal clear. We just don't know what the total hardness is of them yet. We can't test that. So that's what I really want to get into. That determines whether you have to have your soft or jacked up all the way, but getting the iron and manganese out are huge. That's the taste and odor and color stuff.
Yeah. And that was the two samples that was the last meeting
Yeah.
that Jay had.
We know that it's removing iron and manganese. We just don't know how much of the calcium it's removing. So when they hit chlorine, manganese turns black. The little atoms of manganese turn black, and they turn into little dust and float in there. And the iron, when it hits chlorine, turns to iron oxide, which is rust. And then it turns into a powder basically in the water and settles out. That's where that coloration comes from. Calcium doesn't change state in the water. It changes state once it goes into your house and goes through your water softener or your water heater, your dishwasher, your faucets, when you have the white crust on stuff. Yeah. That's the part that's the missing pieces that I want to put together. To see if it's feasible to add in more filtration to get rid of that stuff, or if we can get it blended down to a certain level where people's residential water softeners can handle it. Does anybody have any questions about any of that stuff?
How are the wells looking?
Just steady. I hope we get the 2 inches of rain or whatever, that inch of rain, all that stuff helps. All of it helps.
Well, the last one was nice because it was
Soaker. Yeah.
soaker.
Yeah. That's what I hope we have this 2 inch. If this 2 incher comes through, it's a nice slow soaker. That'll help with everything. We have the Minnow Creek project about wrapped up south of First Street. I checked in with Jay and John today on that. That's looking really nice. The next move is to go up the east side of Minnow Creek and grab everything we can out of that side, because it's a pretty big area, and you know, there are logs from both sides that have slipped in and caused log jams, so we'll work our
You're
way.
almost pretty much behind the schools, aren't you? Getting closer.
When we get up the east side of Minnow Creek, we will be, because Minnow Creek kind of meanders in and out of city property.
You're still south of First Street, right?
Right now, we're south of First Street. Next jump is going to be,
No guards.
there was a couple things in the DNR ground that Jay had talked about that he was going to investigate a piece of equipment into. We can't ask for forgiveness on that one.
Yeah,
So-
we've got enough arguments.
So that's going really well. Project, it's saving a lot of money. I had an update about the warning sirens. So originally we were told it'd be roughly $8,000 a piece to get those moved and installed in Belle Plaine. That's just we don't really have to pay anything for the unit itself. We just have to pay to get it here, get it programmed to our frequencies. So I talked to the company that had been working with Lynn County that is scheduled to work with them. And they said it's going to be like $13,000 to move 2 of them if they're already mobilized into the area. And it's going to be about 19,000 if we call them down special to do and I'm like, we're just going to do it whenever you guys are. And my thought is, you know, if the council, I think we talked about it and about you guys are in support of it, that we would put one down in the southeast quadrant down between the schools, and then one up in the northwest, probably right in Garrett's backyard. Be nice and loud.
Perfect.
Somewhere
Be
in that
right next to it
neighborhood.
too.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood, maybe a block over farther on
Get it
Third
over there,
Avenue.
so
Pat.
Pat doesn't put it right her outside her bed.
We don't want to put it too far to the edge of town because then it'll just be blasting out into no man's land. But that would, you know, be nice too. If, I mean, we know that it would reach out to the well field. So if we had guys working outside there, they'd hear it.
Well, the other thing to that too is if you've got coverage up there already.
Right.
So that's another thing to consider.
Yeah.
When you said the estimate is 13,000, is that per?
For both.
That's for
So
both
it's
of us.
cheaper.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
2 for 13.
And we already have, I asked Scott to give us dibs on 2. So we have the GPS coordinates of the 2 in there, you know, over in eastern north or east Benton County. So they're not too far away. He gave us the ones that were kind of closest to us.
On that, when they're mobilized and our start moving them for everyone else to get on that.
'Cause
and
I-
get the chief.
Like there isn't really like a bunch of quotes.
Those are solar,
They're solar.
right?
Yeah, they're pretty nice and they're not very old.
So did they wind up going in, like parking, or where do we get it?
In the park, the other one's in the right of way. So,
We just,
I just meant we don't have to get somebody else's permission.
no, what I would probably do is talk with the installers and say, would this be better on a hill? Would it be better over here or around this corner? Because we want it to be able to reach around, you know, when you have a big hill like Franklin Park, you're gonna be able to, if you're hitting sound waves and it doesn't go over the hill. I think that's part of the problem with over here. But, so yeah, that's something he emailed me, I'll email him back and just tell him to put us on the list then, if that's all right with you guys. I think that is something that we could use some of our, what do you think, ARPA money or?
That's what council student.
Because I can tell you the federal signals that we have, we put $30,000, $23,000 just repairing them after the derecho. So they're like 40,000, something like that.
we'll get the deal on this.
Yeah, we definitely
Yeah.
don't want to miss out on moving 2 for 13.
No.
Right. And yeah, so since these are solar, then I really like it because we've got the 2 on power, they have battery backup, but then we have the other 2 that are solar. They're 2 different brands. We have kind of some redundancy. There's some that are solar.
Does that move the pole as well? Or do they purchase poles?
Nope, comes with a pole. They're gonna, so part of the thing is they pull the pole where it's at, then they have to address that hole there
You have
and
to
button
fill
it
the
up.
hole. I forget what wording they used in that letter. We were to do something to fancy government term for filling the damn hole.
Well, so we can get a little bit more money.
That's what they were telling us. If we were doing this ourselves, we are responsible for blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We get it,
Landscape.
government would, but the city government.
So I have the permission from the city council to sign like a purchase agreement or something like that for them or the mayor.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get hooked for the 18,000.
Yeah, no kidding.
When I first looked at that.
I just don't know when it'll
I
be.
looked at that, well, it's gonna be 2023 is what it said, in that one letter. That they're gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's, I'll have to,
Whether that's
Not that
early
far away.
23 or whether
Yeah.
that's mid 23.
that could be a couple months or,
Once the ground freezes, it's gonna be 23. Halfway through before you come in.
Oh, they can dig a hole.
Yeah, they'll.
Anything else, Steve?
I don't
Still on
think.
target for trees?
Yeah, okay, first order of trees came in today. A lot has happened today. I didn't have it all written down. I've been working in the clerk's office. So the first order of trees came in today. All of the one calls have been called. One of the locate companies said that they couldn't meet the 48-hour deadline. So they said, we need more time because there are so many. I mean, it's like 50 locations and they're, you know, some of them are broad areas. So they asked if they could have until Monday, but they're coming in so we can kind of get started. I'll be meeting with the tree board tomorrow afternoon and they'll kind of give the final check off and we'll hopefully have about 130, 150 trees depending
Did you
on
have good response to it? Did you have a good response to the project? I mean, did it all get filled out?
We have about 80 trees spoken for.
So you have extra trees?
Yeah, there are extra trees.
Because I know.
So like Gallagher said 5 or more for the big area up there. So, I mean, if he wants to take care of as many trees as he wants to take care of, he can have.
It might be someone else.
And then,
So should I just have him call City Hall?
yeah, yep, come in and fill out a thing.
Okay.
And so my plan is, I've talked to Nick, I've talked to Jay, whatever trees are left over, I bought some like deer repellent and we're just gonna plant them behind the sewer plant and have our own nursery. And then we're gonna water them with sewer effluent water. And then if the grants stop, then we'll have some trees. Just as, you know, and if anybody last minute wants to come and get some trees, we've got trees. So
Last time we had to kind of allocate them. Some people applied for 3 or 4 trees and they got 1.
yeah,
Did
this species,
everybody get filled?
to my knowledge, yeah. So since we're, you know, farther away from the derecho, the species variation is broader too. So I ordered so many different kinds of species. So we have more diversity.
Okay.
And yeah, Lance has free reign of them too. So he hasn't picked all of his out yet. So
He's doing box park this time.
he's focusing on Box Park.
It's good. I'm happy about that.
Thanks for asking about that. That was
Yeah,
one of the
that's
things I
good.
wanted to. Anybody else have any questions?
Okay, we'll go to agenda item 15 and I'm gonna keep this short. Landfill meeting, normal landfill meeting link. Interestingly enough, I showed up at 6:31. Meeting starts at 6:30. They were halfway through the treasurer's report. I asked the head of it, what clock do you use? You can't go that fast. And the only thing that was interesting in the whole landfill report is a raccoon decided to nest in on the engine of the extractor machine. On the old machine, when they did that, the fan blades were metal and would just make sausage out of them. On our new machine, it's plastic, so there was some repairs to the engine, and the raccoon also demised himself there. The plastic killed him, but he said we were down with the extractor for a day before it. Benton Development, we finally got a budget done and approved at Benton Development. And Corey, I will fill you more in on Benton Development. It's the economic arm, but you do have one advantage. Kate Robertson is right down the alley at Drawn. That's where Benton Development has their office right now. So
Okay,
you can contact Kate with anything you want or any help you need. She's a great resource. And you're good involved with Benton Development. There's no meeting in October. There's no meeting in November. The next meeting is the Christmas party, so you'll get to come to that.
alcohol? I mean, no, I'm not, no.
Possibly, depending on where they hold it at. Easy Cog, normal meeting, not much there, except I found a line in the minutes, their line in the report that said, having discussions with the city of Belle Plaine over drilling, getting us a seat. Contact him, I didn't contact
He brings a sheet and he's like, what's this? And I'm like, I don't think we did that. That wasn't me.
And so I want to know who from, quote, Belle Plaine, or was it our engineers out of Iowa City that talked to him about that grant for a deep well? I want a grant for a shallow well. I don't plan on drilling one 600 feet into the Jordan Aquifer, any of that stuff. So I will follow up on that and get an answer from him. It was nice though, when they put the word CDBG with well digging. I hope those grants are available for that. And I hope because of our legal situation with our wastewater, that's a CDBG grant that's still got a payment sitting down there that we haven't collected yet. So,
God.
yeah.
Isn't that
What I was
great?
thinking. So
This month, unless we get bumped again, right?
November, I thought it was February now.
It was
Did we
November
get bumped already?
20
I thought it was like
End of this
after
year,
it
yeah.
was
Right
right after
before-
Thanksgiving.
Oh, I thought it was before. It could be right
Somewhere
there.
around
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Well, I'm
November.
We get you a body double.
Oh, gosh.
Any questions?
Bastards are lying.
I have no correspondence. I have no old business.
One question, on your sirens, where are your sirens coming from?
The Duane Arnold Energy Plant got decommissioned, the nuclear power plant. And there were 40, 50, I don't know how many of these all over. They're big, so they are decommissioning to as many as we want.
Oh, so they had offered one to Vining, because like Vining doesn't have a big budget, so they're trying, so I was just curious.
I think that the surrounding already, but I don't know if they didn't have all of them allocated. They might have reached out to other.
The different ones, and probably,
Good question.
just curious, that was it.
Question.
Junior high, is that being tore down or being tore down?
Being torn down.
Right now?
Well,
Yeah.
they haven't started
It's
yet.
in process.
Okay.
They've taken the electrical out. They've cleaned out everything they're gonna clean out. I did a final walkthrough this weekend with my mask on to see it. So
Okay.
You find any Apple IIs in there?
No, there were Apple IIs in Lee,
Oh.
but they were destroyed. But there's pretty much nothing left in the building, but all just junk. But it's supposed to be starting anytime now. I'm sure what they'll do is they'll do the same as Central and Lee. They'll have to take the windows out and all the glass and do all that remediation first.
Yes.
And they'll start after
Did you
that.
look for my high school records?
I did.
Were they
You're a
water
good,
stained?
you were a good student.
Were they water stained?
Yeah, there was, anything in there was destroyed. And the mold in there was really bad. That's why they made me wear a mask to let me in. Who's, she was a perk, Christy? Barbara? Yeah, Barbara, is it Christy?
Mhm.
Yeah, she made me wear a mask to go in. She
Good
wouldn't
for
let me,
her.
she wouldn't let me in. But
Anything
no,
else?
Just curious. I had heard that, so I wasn't sure what the.
yeah, according to Val Kaufman, because I've been in communication with the school, they're gonna tear that down, level it out, and then their plan is to build a house there through the school program.
Awesome.
That's
I
the
think they
plan.
actually, they want to build two.
That'd be great.
I think that's,
Well,
If-
I'd be truthful, we're gonna try and trading property for the city to get that property.
It's technically park and school zoned.
And we could use it for our Little League fields.
I just don't want a pavilion next to me where
Oh,
the
yeah.
urchins will live because they are already down on the park every night, so.
So
I'd
we
much
are
rather
gonna
have a house.
explore that before they build it.
Ferris wheel? Was that
We
okay?
can trade
No,
some city property where they can build on
only if I can
get that,
shot
and then
and trap
park
shoot.
and rec loose there on that. It's just a possibility. We've had people come in and ask question our Little League diamonds, and I said, folks, trying to explain that there's an elected board that runs Park and Rec. The city council does not run it. I said, you gotta start there. You gotta go through Park and Rec. We can't force it down their throat, but we are gonna look at something. And if that doesn't, then we have to, if zoning will change that to allow housing on it, then that could be a possibility. So we'll just see. But if you hear that rumor, Steve and I have talked about that after some residents came in and talked about that. So we're looking to see if they would be interested in trading a property. Maybe we'll unsell the property we sold them and give them their money back and give them that. And see if we can trade it for another piece of property.
It's really too bad they have the fence all along the first base line, because that used to be the best hill to sled down.
Sledding.
But,
Ask that Poppy's kid that went down it on his face.
oh, we all got hurt.
This was the record, like 167 stitches in his face.
Holy.
Does he hit the fence?
No, because it was ice. It was the year we had the big ice storm and they were up there, those sleds flying down it. There were sparks flying off.
Oh, metal runners?
Yeah,
Oh,
he fell
geez.
off the sled and went
Oh, I
the rest
went
of the way
right-
down the hill on his
I
face.
hit a pole in my head, and I think Pat Duachek broke his arm, and there was all sorts of damage. And we survived, and we didn't sue anybody.
I'm surprised you can get any grass to grow on your north side of your yard because of all the salt tablets that were spit over there.
Exactly.
They'd hand you those stupid things when you were going to practice. And after about 1 month of seventh grade, you realize nobody takes these things. You spit them over that fence. And here you
They
go.
were all in there. Well, the weeds still grow.
All right, anything else?
Yeah, I have a question. I was thinking that it was this September that the sidewalks that had been marked a year or so ago were to have been fixed. Is that correct? Or am I remembering incorrectly?
I believe some of them have been repaired.
Yeah, some of
Some
them
of them
have
are
been
still-
repaired.
But not, I was under the impression that that was the deadline for all those to be fixed.
We send out letters.
Is there a property in particular that you're curious? Because it's my understanding they've all been arranged.
Oh, okay. Okay, because today I was walking and I noticed that there were some markings on the grass by this one home that sidewalk chunks had been marked a long time ago. So I'm just wondering if maybe they're in the process.
My understanding is what Sandy's understanding is everybody's like in process
Okay,
if they haven't gotten them done.
okay. I just didn't
Right.
want us to say, you need to do this and then let that slip by and then
No.
not.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
does the city organize that, or is the individual are supposed to organize that?
Yeah, it kind of depends on we're able to get
They're giving
contractors.
notice, but
Because I've asked like 3 different people, and I can't get, because I've got one right in front of my house that's bad, and
it's tough to find people.
yeah,
We
sure
hired
is.
one of the number ones. So
Yeah, you took,
Because I talked to Carlson, he said he'd be around, he never made it back, so it's just.
Call him again.
Have you
Okay.
tried Todd Rogatine out of Maringo?
I can text you his number.
No, and I was gonna get a hold of the kid that I used to know that lived in Ladora.
there's
that
York that
I don't know those
advertises
guys.
that I had him do some of mine. Did an excellent job.
York.
But again, he wants to do several
Right.
small jobs at one time. It doesn't pay to just come up and
Right.
do.
No, I get that, yeah.
So
Yeah, there's probably like $150 in profit on
Yeah,
on a single one.
It's tough unless you're going for the full money and tearing the whole thing out.
Yeah.
All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. You're out at 8:34 PM.
All right.
Well done, Judy.